Today, we have the most banger mystery of all time, and it's going to just blow your mind away. So, with that, let's watch another video about the Watchers.
As the Watchers. Typically, angels are considered spiritual beings, but in the Book of Enoch, the Watchers are physical entities. They're described as large humanoids, some with wings, and they radiate so much light that it's difficult to look directly at them. The Watchers taught humans how to cultivate crops and create pottery. They taught humans about medicine and curing illness. The Watchers taught humans about astronomy and astrology. In ancient Sumerian texts, which Enoch is probably based on, 300 beings are sent to Earth from palaces in the sky. These beings are called the Observers. They too help humanity take a great leap forward. We see this story in ancient cultures all over the world. Advanced beings come down from the sky and bring humanity the gift of civilization. In the Book of Enoch, the Watchers helped humanity advance quickly and civilization spread. But the Watchers became vain and proud. They were instructed by God to withhold certain knowledge from man. The Watchers ignored these instructions. The Watchers taught men how to create new metals for weapons. They taught men how to harness fire and wage war. They taught women witchcraft and alchemy. The Watchers revealed the secrets of the heavens and changed the course of human development. Then the Watchers became lustful. Then they started taking human women as wives for themselves.
And the angels, the children of the heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and beget us children. Enoch chapter 6, verse 1.
So this comes from the Book of Enoch, and I'll tell you what the Book of Enoch is, because the Book of Enoch is in itself is like such an interesting story. So the Watchers are like the fallen angels. According to Islam, there's Harut and Marut. Harut and Marut were two angels who came to this earth because there are a lot of jinns. Now, this is also a great concept that we today, something like a ghost, Islam considers that as jinn. And in today's 21st century, we don't really believe in the supernatural and the jinns. And actually, there's a lot of supernatural activity going around us. And since like the discovery of cameras and sound recording devices and other observation devices, now we see a large amount of these paranormal activities that are happening. And even I even said this before, that even when I'm sitting in the studio space, I might have a lot of jinns circling around me, and that is according to our religion, because even Satan, Shaitan, has like billions of jinns who follow him, who are there for his own commandments, and who are hell-bent to destroying the humanity. And it is also said that for every person that lives, there's at least one Shaitan who is misguiding us. And jinns are different from angels, because angels, who are the angels? Angels are the perfect beings. There's some angels that have been standing in the same place, in the same position since the beginning of the universe, and they're talking about God, Allah, and they're praying since eternity, and that's their purpose. Angels might be some sort of a super intelligence, like we could say that we create an AI which is super intelligent and which knows everything and which will do everything right. And those are the angels. And who are the humans? Actually, this is like an interesting thing. Why are the humans considered better than all the angels? Because of this fact that humans have free will. And angels, they cannot sin, but humans can sin. And that's what God, basically, in Islamic text, who is Shaitan? Shaitan was a jinn that was the most devoted jinn of all time. He was praying to God 24/7. When he went to worship. He went to worship for centuries and centuries, and he was so in love with God. But when God created humans, and that is such an interesting story, that Iblis, Shaitan, thought that this world is, these people are not as good as him because he can spend so much time praying to God, and he could spend so much time, and he had so much power, immense power, that he could exert around the universe. And this feeble human who was made of sand, who God sent to Earth in a little planet in the universe, and it's just like from a trillion planets just in our galaxy, trillion stars in just our galaxy, we're just in around one star, one planet, and this the whole universe. So God sent these humans who were made of flesh and bones, and God made us in such a way that we are better than the angels, who are not fallible, who are the best sort of, most intelligent sort of creatures that exist. And it's so fascinating because maybe free will is something that is greater than the biggest power in the world, because we can choose our path. We can choose to do the wrong things and the right things. And that really changes the perspective. So I was talking about Harut and Marut, and according to Islam, these two angels came because the jinns, all the jinns were involved in harming the people, and there was jinns used to do all these spells on people, and people were really fed up at that time. And then Harut and Marut, God drops them from the heaven to teach men how to control these jinns, how to get these humans back to functioning society, through a functioning civilization. And these Harut and Marut, or the Watchers, they teach humans about alchemy, witchcraft, about this ancient knowledge. And you know, what is magic? Magic, if you take like a cell phone back in the Stone Age and you show a person the functionality of the cell phone, he would consider that as magic, because something that is so advanced in technology, people obviously who cannot understand it would consider it as magic. So these angels were teaching the humans about magic, some knowledge. They were giving the humans some knowledge that is comparable to magic, because people couldn't fathom their mind around how these jinns could like alter matter with their knowledge, alter, how this, it's written in some scriptures that when the ancients were making these megalithic structures, they used harmonic frequencies to levitate the stones. And now that we know that each element on the element table has a harmonic frequency that is related, at this harmonic frequency, this element starts to vibrate. And it goes same for all the universe that we see around us, because we are in like this small perspective. We're in this small place in the universe. We can't really see and experience the whole universe. The 90% of the universe is hidden from us. Why? That is like a really interesting question, because just like the Higgs boson that was recently discovered through this, what do you call it? Large Hadron Collider. They speed up these little particles almost 99.9% at the speed of light. And when these particles collide, they found this thing called the Higgs boson. Because fundamentally, the elements, the atoms, and the nucleus have no mass. So where do they get mass? Where does gravity come from? Because gravity is also like the biggest mystery that humans have perceived, and we can't really. The problem with gravity is like one of the biggest problems in physics, and so what I'm trying to say is earlier the point that I was trying to tell you is that we are in the Higgs field. When the atoms or the electrons go in a circle, they go through this Higgs field, which gives them mass, and it's because we're only in this frequency that we can only experience this sort of universe. There might be more forces in nature. There might be more forces in the universe. There might be some matter that is there, but we can't really see it. And why is that? Because might be going with too much detail on this, but because we are only in a certain harmonic frequency of this universe. If God would open the whole universe to us, we would see so many intelligent creatures of different kinds. And it's like when you are looking at me, 99% of my atoms are empty spaces. So if the atoms that I'm made of is 99% empty spaces, so why do you see a whole guy? And how does this all, this is like such a fascinating mystery. But without further ado, let's just read a few comments as well before we get into the spicy details. So who is here? Asma is saying, hi, Wali Wonders, Nephilim and the Watchers. Sorry, let's go to the early comments. So Israr says, hello, dear sir. If a global flood happens, why don't high altitude animals show any genetic reset? And that is like an interesting question. Does Fuzzy mean that the flood wasn't that high enough that it didn't reach the biggest mountains? Yes. According to the ancient text and according to the flood mystery, not all of the world was under that flood. But there was this rain. God, according to Islam, God made rain for day and night for 40 days. And rain also came from the ground. Now, I just want to show you this footage from this movie that is 1912. It is 2012, and it came a few years ago, and it shows you such a devastating scene about this water, this wave of water that is coming over the mountain. And the wave of water is so much. It's like hundreds and hundreds of feet above the sea level, and it just decimates the whole world. So let me show you that scene so you can probably understand the ancient stories. So let's just look at this scene. So this is the water that is coming, and the water is coming over the mountain. And there's this monk who is actually in a monastery above everything else. Let's just watch it again. So this monk is standing and he's praying to God, and there's this flood coming, and most of the world is destroyed. And he is on the top of something like Mount Everest or something, and he sees this wave of flood that is coming. And it is so huge, and it engulfs this person and it takes him away. And that is also the story, which is a very interesting story I want to talk about, Noah's wife and son.